Yes, sir.
Guys, it's the day we've all been waiting for. It's opening day 2020 of the MLB season.
On the Clemente episode, too.
On the Clemente, on the Roberto Clemente
better.
episode number 21. Guys, we've been waiting for this day for a long time. At some points between March and now, we didn't think it was coming. I was pessimistic that we weren't going to have a season this year. But it's here. The Yankees and the Nationals are playing on TV right now. The Dodgers play tonight against the Giants, correct? Clayton Kershaw is already on the IL or the DL.
Shout out Greg Malik.
Guys, how excited are you? We're actually able to watch baseball right now. I mean, day one of the MLB season. We've been waiting for this forever. This is great. I love it.
We went through the 5 stages of grief and back again, and now we actually get to be rewarded for our patience. Now that we did 20 episodes, not actually talking about an actual baseball game, now we can actually talk about the game and not labor disputes or, I mean, COVID's still a thing, but.
Yeah. COVID's still here. I don't know if it's going anywhere. COVID's still here. COVID is still here. All right. So did you guys see Dr. Fauci's first pitch?
I saw his follow-through.
Where would you rank it on the list of worst first pitches in MLB history?
It's definitely up there with 50 Cent.
50 Cent's my number one no matter what.
Yeah, that one was bad.
50 Cent, there's I think it was the mayor of Cincinnati. That one and Fauci are tied. But I saw a really funny tweet that was because obviously Fauci's been all in the most popular guy the last few months, and I think it was Will Brinson tweeted Fauci finally flattened the curve or something like that, and I was like, that's good. I was like, that's really good.
That's might be the funniest joke I've heard in a long time. That is a good one.
It really is. Got to tip your cap to that one. That's a really good joke.
But just from listening to the first couple innings of this game, I actually realized how much I hated A-Rod in the booth. I hate A-Rod as a commentator. I really do. Even though he brings a different aspect to the game that we don't really get that often. I just don't like him as a broadcaster. I really don't like him as a broadcaster.
I feel like your Red Sox bias is showing, but that's okay.
Maybe just a little bit.
I gotta say, I'm definitely I'm an A-Rod guy in the booth. I like what he brings, but tonight is not his best stuff. I will say that, but it's game one, so we'll see what's up. Further down the line, but I like him in the booth. I think he's articulate. I also think at times, and tonight really shows that kind of tries a little too hard.
No, yeah, I think that's what it is for me. He just tries a little too hard, I think.
Yeah. And, you pick up those vibes throughout him trying to fill time in between pitches. He made up a word. I can't remember the word he made up, but it was not English. So, and that was kind of when I'm all right, A-Rod, chill out, relax. It's game one. But at the same time, I'm all right, it's game one, So I'm excited because, honestly, I didn't think we'd get to this point.
Yeah.
I kind of lost faith that there would be no baseball. And then, as time ticks on, you really think that it's not going to happen, and then find out, they got a 60-game season and got it all together by June. It's just crazy to think that, with COVID happening and everything, that this is actually really happening, Major League Baseball, sports are back.
Yeah. It kind of snuck up on us too in a little bit. I remember recording with you last week, Dre, and I was like, holy shit. Opening day is 8 days away right now. Oh my God. What?
Yeah, right? You don't really think about it.
Yeah,
it just kind of happens.
It just kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God, we get to watch baseball this week. This is awesome. And we got to watch a couple exhibition games, over the course of the weekend. The Pirates went to Cleveland, played 2 games at home to We got to see Cole Tucker make a sliding catch in center field, which I don't know if you guys saw it, but that was pretty awesome to see.
I did not, but I'm very glad to hear that because they want to try and get him on the field in any way they can. And I don't blame them because I think he's a guy that needs to show what he can do. Being a shortstop, I feel like a transition like that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's super athletic as it is. So it's a shame that he's not going to play shortstop. I think that's his best defensive position. But I just want to see him in the lineup. So, these are all good things.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, I mean, given that it's opening day, we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of news today for some oddball reason. A couple of things we'll touch on later in the night. Juan Soto was diagnosed with COVID today on the Nationals, so he's not in the starting lineup against the Yankees in the home opener or in their season opener. Mookie Betts signed a ginormous deal earlier this week with the Dodgers. A little disappointing to hear. I was hoping he'd go through his 1 year, come back home to the Sox, do a little Salt Bay on the Red Sox in Fenway. Hopefully,
this ain't Salt Bay. This is the world's smallest violin. Playing you a song right now.
I thought you were doing a little,
No, I ain't solved nothing.
This is Salt Bay.
That's what it looks like.
This is the smallest violin.
This is the violin playing for you.
No, but on a real note, I was playing Warzone with my brother before this, and I was like, yeah, I got to get off at 9 o'clock. I got to go do a podcast. He's like, oh, what is it going to be all Red Sox based? I'm like, no, I like to spread it out a little bit. Still got to get my Red Sox stuff in there though. But the biggest news of today though, just like middle of the day, reports came out that there's actually a playoff expansion for this year. So instead of the normal 12 teams, correct? Am I right?
10. Yeah.
10. The normal 10 team. I don't know how I got that right. Or how I got that wrong. Normal 10 teams. Now we have 16 teams. So 16 team playoff scenario. So we got the top 2 teams from each division. And then the 7th and 8th teams are picked based on their best record. Just to overall to start, guys, what do you think about this playoff expansion? Is it going to be good for baseball in this oddball year that we have, this shortened season?
Well, go ahead.
But you can go first.
All right. Well, I guess first things first, what I want to say is that this was just simply a rumor maybe 3 weeks ago. And when they were coming together and trying to figure out how they're going to put this season together, the fact they got this done so fast is the most shocking thing to me, I guess.
Right.
Considering all the labor disputes that there were, how they're going to keep players safe. But to answer your question, Mac, I think it's incredible for baseball. I love it, and I love it for so many reasons. Number one, it's unique. Going from 10 to 16 teams, it's a unique season, so why not add in a unique playoff? So that's number one. Number two, and this is me thinking as a Pirates fan purely, the trade deadline becomes that much more important now because you're going to have a lot more teams out there trying to buy as opposed to a lot more sellers. So it allows teams to kind of, empty their assets if they're like a fringe team, if they want to go for it, if they don't want to go for it, like that allows teams to really do that, which is nice. It gives a lot of teams hope that, the season might not just be a wash. Number three, and most importantly, number four, this is going to be the most exciting Major League Baseball playoff in history. With the format and everything, I believe it's just straight seeds: 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, and 5 versus 4. What I love about it, the first round, is that the home team gets a 3-game series.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about an advantage? How do you get an advantage for home field? Well, give a team all 3 games. No one needs travel. It gives you an uphill climb if you're a lower seed, which is the advantage that you want. You want to reward the higher seeds any way possible for being a better team, and I think that's perfect. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm just as excited. And I think, like, going off of your point with the uniqueness, like, it's embracing the chaos. And I think it's really cool thinking of the teams and the matchups that we're going to see. We're going to see teams that haven't been in the playoffs in a few years.
Mhm.
And it's the sort of like opening that door. So for like a season at the start where it's just like the Yankees, the Dodgers, and everybody else, throwing open a playoff field really throws a wrench in things. Obviously, they're still the most favored teams, but it's approaching it in this way could sort of throw some needed wrinkles into it. And I think it's going to be great. I'm really surprised that one, they came to this agreement given everything that went on in terms of their debates and decision tactics before the season. So I was really surprised that they got this off, but I think it's really cool. And one thing where, like we were just talking before, we don't know if it's legitimate yet or how the actual seeding happens, whether teams are picking their opponents or not.
Yeah.
I would be a big proponent of that, like just even throw a different element into it. And I feel like that would be a really cool twist in it where you're just like automatically giving a team bulletin board material. And I think that's a great way to sort of put a little spice into the playoff mix.
Bring all the heat, baby. There's your Salt
There's
Bay.
Salt Bay. It's the goose thing.
I'm a huge fan of this. When I first saw it, I was like, all right, here we go. This is awesome. Because, I mean, when we did our predictions before the season was postponed, I feel like with all of us, there was a lot of teams that we felt like could be in, but probably wouldn't have made in because, you know, it wasn't expanded. It was limited amount of teams. But now I feel like you're going to get like so many more teams that could make or that should make the playoffs in the playoffs. I mean, if you look at like the NL Central, the NL East, or you know, the AL Central, it's all going to be competitive, and you have like possibly 3 or 4 teams that can make the playoffs. And now they're going to get a pretty good opportunity to make the playoffs given the new format. It's just going to be really interesting. It's going to be exciting. It's something we've never seen before. And in this year with this shortened season, like there could be a lot of teams that are going to get hot, and there could be a lot of teams that might slump through the regular season, get hot at the right time, and maybe they'll sneak in with the expanded playoffs and, you know, get hot during the playoffs like the Nationals did last year. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm excited. It's just another way to kind of embrace like you said, embrace the chaos and get fans excited for a pretty exciting playoff run.
Yeah, and that's the best way to really put it, Brooksy. Embrace the chaos.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here thinking of the fact that now this leaves a bigger this leaves a bigger margin of error for some of the teams, because you talk about the Nats last year. 60 games in, they weren't even in the playoffs. They weren't even in the wild card hunt. And then they got hot and they made it to the playoffs. I understand that they don't have that big number of games, but, you know, to sort of catch up and dig themselves out of a hole. But if you dig in a hole early, you know, if you're expected to be near the top of the division, like if you're a Twins or a Yankees, you're just sluggish out of the gate, or even the Astros, you know, now this gives you a chance to sort of make up that ground, because you look at your roster, you know how the talent is. You just need to put it all together, and you might just be missing one piece. One trade could do that, and you could swing your whole entire fortunes of your season and get ready for that last push in September to make the playoffs. I think that's one thing that's kind of missed here, and I gotta say, again, I gotta tip my cap. I can't believe that Rob Manfred, the owners, and the Players Association all came to this so soon, so last minute. Like right before the first pitch. That's, to me, that's great timing, incredible, especially because that adds a new flavor of excitement for today specifically.
Yeah. It's like, all right, now we have this to look forward to rather than
that. And I wonder if like one of the big points in if the league was going to expand the playoffs or not is what did summer camp to this point look like in terms of like COVID exposure and COVID containment. So if anything like that helps that there, because at this point, like I think earlier tonight when they were interviewing Rob Manfred, it was like, oh, the World Series is still going to be happening at the same time, or like in the same time frame. So the fact that they're still planning on play being that long means they must feel pretty good, at least to date, of how COVID's been contained, or just the logistics of the health risks going on.
I mean, we don't know if like a player comes down with it or anything like that. I mean, unless they come out and say, "Hey, I got COVID," because they have that medical.
Right.
I don't even know what to call it. But yeah, so I mean, we don't know all the players that come down with COVID, but I mean, I think it's been rather slim the amount of people that have come out and things like that. I mean, Hayes from the Pirates came down with it. He released his statement the other day. Juan Soto came out today. A couple other players have too. But I think for the most part, they've been able to get a good handle on it. And it seems like, I mean, like you said, Brooksy, they're pretty confident in what it means.
Hayes, I do want to say Hayes is actually out of the woods. He actually rejoined the team, but Gregory Polanco and Keone Akella both got COVID. So Polanco, he experienced symptoms, and when he said he had them, he notified the team immediately, stayed home, and then he got his test back and saw he's positive. So as far as I know, he contained himself from the team. I'm not 100% sure about Keone Akella, but I would assume it's kind of like the same thing. Because I know the Pirates were one of the, if not the team that were out in the forefront with this way back in March, April. They were preparing for this. So I'd assume the players are kind of well-versed in the situation. As for Juan Soto, that timing is super unfortunate.
Yeah, very.
It just happened today, right before first pitch.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I mean, right, it hurts. But I mean, as you can tell though, like at least they didn't like go out and cancel the game because he got COVID. You know what I mean? So at least they kind of have some type of process in place to where they're able to figure out if they need to cancel or anything like that. So that's good to hear. But with the new playoff expansion, we obviously have to make our new playoff picks. We made predictions way back in March, I believe it was. So we got to come up with some new picks here tonight. How do you guys want to do this? You want to go division by division? You want to go all of our picks at once, and then discuss it afterwards? How do you want to do this?
I say we go division by division. I mean, we've done this before. We've seen the teams, and we're kind of well versed and up to date on who has COVID, who's going to be affected most. I say we just start in the NL East and work our way from there because the defending champions reside in the NL East.
Yes, sir. Yes, they
the
do.
Washington Nationals.
All right. So let's go. We'll go NL East, AL East, NL Central, AL Central, NL West, AL West. And then we'll do the two NL, I guess you can call them wild cards at this point, the 7 and 8 seeds, and then the AL wild cards, and then World Series winners, World Series predictions. We'll
Perfect.
Dre, you want to start us off, bro?
Yeah, I will. I would love to.
Okay.
And I'm just going to keep this short and sweet, and I'm going to leave my NL East champs are going to be the Atlanta Braves. I know that Freddie Freeman is down, but I just think the Braves are too talented. They have the best player in the division, I guess non-pitcher, and Ronald Acuna, because, pitching trumps hitting every time. If you're taking pitching, you're taking the Nats, but the Nats just lost too much this offseason, and Ryan Zimmerman's not playing due to COVID. Juan Soto just tested positive for COVID, so they don't have him. And honestly, I know it's extremely early, but Max Scherzer has 10 Ks, but he also has no run support. They have one hit right now off Garrett Cole, and they're going to be seeing a lot of that NL East. So I'm going to go the Braves one, and I guess by default, I'm going to go the Phillies two, because the Mets are another team that's just kind of going through it right now with all kinds of injuries in typical Mets fashion, which is how you know baseball's back.
Yeah.
Trevor got hurt. Syndergaard's already out. He's been out for a while. So they really have just DeGrom. I saw Rick Porcello also got hurt.
Jeez.
They don't really have a lot of pitching to deal with them. So I'm gonna go Braves one, Phillies two.
Okay. Brooksy, what do you got?
And for the record, I have an Excel doc, and I'm keeping track.
So we can
Love that.
track.
We can
this time
track
around.
ourselves, and like easily. I'm copying on both accounts here. I mean, I think just in this division, it's those 4 teams at the top that I feel like could vie for those 2 spots. But then just speaking to, well, what not as much of what the Braves and the Phillies have done, but what's already bitten the Nats. Like, I think losing Rendon is huge.
Yeah.
Missing out on Zimmerman, and then also just a slight World Series hangover. But meanwhile, like, also playing in the AL East, I feel like that's very competitive. So I think if anything, I'll have the Nats be that 7 or 8 spot, and then have the Phillies be the second team in that division and the Braves the first. I just think they're at a whole other level.
Okay. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with you guys as well. I'm gonna go Braves. I mean, I think they're the premier of this this division. I mean, they're too strong. They got 2 young guys, decent pitching staff. I mean, I know it's gonna be interesting to see how they react with Freddie Freeman now. So we'll see how that happens. But I'm gonna go Braves. I think the Phillies have a big year, so I'm gonna go them too. And see how the rest of that plays out later in this podcast. But I think I'm going to agree with you guys. Go Braves and Phillies. 1-2.
All right. Let's see if we can continue the consistency. So what now, the AL East?
AL East. Brooks, you go first for the AL East.
Well, I think we're all going to have the same winner. It's going to be the Yankees.
Yep.
And I feel like the Rays are definitely that next tier down. So I feel like my biggest question at this point, I feel like those 2 are locks. Maybe not necessarily the Rays in that second spot. The Rays are definitely going to be a top 8 of those teams. I feel like the Red Sox or the Blue Jays, one of them will maybe be in the hunt, but I just don't quite see it. So I'm just going to go with Yankees and Rays, with no other AL East team being in that 7 or 8 spot.
I agree with you straight up. Yankees, Rays. I don't think there's any other choice at this point, unless the Blue Jays come out of nowhere. I don't think the Red Sox are really going to make much of a challenge, given what they've lost in the pitching staff. I don't know what's up with Chris Sale or how he's doing, but they lost too much in the offseason. They've gone through too many injuries. Lost a key starter in the rotation.
Rodriguez, yeah.
Is
that Eduardo?
Yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez. He's back. So he'll
okay.
But like, I mean, they're gonna have to get like 2 if they want any chance of challenging. JD Martinez, Devers, Xander Bogaerts are all gonna have to play a huge role and kind of kick it up a notch from what they played in the past if they want to challenge at all. But I mean, starting off Yanks, Rays, that's it for me.
Okay.
Bless you. Dab. Yankees, Rays, 1-2. It's no question, no brainer. The only other team I can see competing out of this division, I know the Red Sox are loaded, but I just don't think they're going to have the pitching to do so. You know, for me, the only team that makes sense in competing with the Rays, I still don't even think they're going to have a chance, is the Blue Jays. I think they got a better shot at the 7-8 seed and the wild card, just because they're such a young team, and a young team like that, if they get momentum, build confidence, that's a train you don't want to see. Just a team flying high, you know. So we'll see as the season goes. You don't expect the Jays to really be there. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Another thing too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
If they do end up in a 7-8 team, I don't think they'll be too worried about playing 3 home games. Whoever they play,
they'll be used
3
to
road games. So
you know what would be really interesting if they somehow got one of the top seed, and like you don't even get a home game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be crazy. But I will say they are confirmed. The Blue Jays are confirmed to play at Baltimore at Camden Yards.
Okay.
So that's where they'll host their games. So
that's confirmed?
Yeah. So the Orioles Baltimore may see playoff baseball after all.
Whoa.
So we'll see. We'll see when we get to the seedings. But for me right now, it is the Yankees 1, Rays 2.
There you go.
Right.
Okay. NL Central, I'll start off with this one. Guys, I can't remember if someone picked them. Brooks, I believe it might have been you, to be honest. The Reds. in the NL Central. I'm gonna go Reds number 1. I'm on the Trevor Bauer hype train this year. He's been giving it to the league over the last couple months. So I'm gonna go with the Reds to start it off. I'm gonna go Cardinals close second in the NL Central. But we've always talked about how good this division is. Like, I don't know if I mean, I guess with the expanded playoffs, you might see the Brewers sneak in, but like, I don't think the Cubs have a chance. I don't think the Pirates have a chance of sneaking into the playoffs. Like, I just see this as a 2-team division this year. I don't know. The Brewers will probably get in.
They do play. They get 10 games against the Pirates.
Yeah.
And then they get their like schedule, and just in terms of like when you compare teams in the East, in the NL East, that have to go against like the Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, Blue Jays, and you compare like the Brewers, and they get a beef up on the Pirates. They get then the still good Twins, Indians, but then like White Sox, Tigers, Royals. Like, that's different. I feel like the imbalanced schedule will really favor, not in the division necessarily, but out of it.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. I like your argument. Okay, all right. Dre, what do you think?
If I recall, I'm pretty sure it was me and Brooksy who picked the Cardinals, and then took the Reds as a wild card team because of the fact that us being Pirate fans just can never bet against the Cardinals. They're the New England Patriots of baseball. I've said it multiple times. I'll keep saying it until that franchise is just dead in the water. That ain't coming up anytime soon. So I'm going Cards 1, and then I'm going to go Reds 2. I think the Reds are ready. I think they really did the best to really kind of beef up their roster. Like you said, Bauer, I believe he's in a contract year, so he's going to be doing the most to try and make sure he can cash in. Although he has this plan to just do 1-year deals. We'll see how that works out. But in the end, when you talk about the rest of this division, the 2 teams that really make sense for that 2 spot, or even the 1 spot, just because all 4 teams you can make a case for. I like the Cubs over the Brewers.
Okay.
And this is going to be weird, but this is one of the teams that will benefit from the DH. This is a team that has a lot of talent on the offensive side in their lineup, but they don't know what to do with it, specifically Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber was destined to be a DH, and now he gets to be a DH. And you add his bat every day in the lineup and take out a pitcher, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
He's a guy that mashed almost 40 homers last year, and now he is in his comfort zone. You don't got to worry about defense; he's going to hit. And to me, it's kind of similar how the Brewers were built last year, just pure offense. You're looking for that advantage now to be the Cubs. So I think the Cubs can compete for the 2 spot, but I see them more as a wild card team myself, just because the Reds have the better pitching. So, and Jack Flaherty, for me, I think he's going to contend for the Cy Young, if not win it. It's going to be hard to knock off the ground, but I think Flaherty's the real deal. I think he's ready to take that next step. And for the Pirates, just if you don't make a run, at least make a run for Kumar. Kumar Rockers projected number 1 pick next year. So I'm cool with tanking for Kumar. They're in a rebuilding stage. They don't really have the bat. They don't really have the bats outside of Josh Bell. Brian Reynolds is exciting, but they just don't have enough to compete with today's baseball. They have Bell, and they have no one else threatening to hit 20 homers.
Yeah.
So you can't expect him to carry in a whole entire offense into the playoffs, even with expansion. So I got them last, but we'll finalize and say Cards 1, Reds 2.
They just played the Fauci replay on my TV, and that's why I was laughing. It's so bad.
It is. It was absolutely terrible watching. It was painful. The best part was the joke by Will Brinson. He flattened the curve.
About time.
Just a tad too late for Juan Soto.
Brooksy, what do you got for the Central?
I went back and forth for a while. Because I really like the additions that the Reds made. Hate their manager.
Yeah.
Buys everything about the Cardinals. I think I'm going to go Reds winning this division. I feel like when I think about it, I worry about like the Cardinals. They're going to have some guy named Ryan Johnson, who we've never heard of. That's going to be an all-star.
Yep.
But I just feel like they're losing Ozuna. There's like offensive production there that may be tough to get back. And I feel like the Reds just beefed up their lineup top to bottom. And the book that I'm reading now right here, something fell off my desk. The book that I'm reading now right here.
Wondering what that noise was.
Oh, my pencil holder fell off my desk. But this book I'm reading now is like pretty much talking all about the new pitching coach for the Reds. And it's this guy from like Driveline. It's all about this like new age thinking pitching philosophy. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's on the Reds. And so I'm just going to give them the edge here. Cardinals still in the 2 spot. And then I know there's gonna be a third team in this division that makes the playoffs. And I'm obviously between the Cubs and the Brewers. And I feel like when you look at the core between each of the 2 teams, like the Cubs core, miles and beyond better, in my opinion, just with you still having Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, like just that core that's there, Contreras. So I'll give them the edge there. So there's going to be 3 teams making the division: Reds, Cardinals, Cubs. I think the Brewers are really going to miss Grandal, and also like Lorenzo Cain is continuing to decline. This is Ryan Braun.
Bad contract. Such a bad contract.
I think the Brewers are going to be on the outside looking in.
And by the way, that Cardinals prospect you should be watching out for, he might make the All-Star game. Dylan Carlson, he's an outfielder. He's one of the top 20 prospects in baseball. So he's a big power bat. Rob, but we'll find out because it's the Cardinals. So
pencil him in for Rookie of the Year. What are the betting odds on that?
I don't know, but all I know is I can't bet against that team. I guess we'll shift focus now to the AL Central. That's to me.
You beat me to the transition, Dre. If you're up.
That to me, that's one of the more intriguing divisions.
Yep.
I guess across the board, NL Central, AL Central. That baseball is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year, and the fact that
really fun.
We get a front row seat for it is really cool. But looking at this division, it's obviously the Twins to lose. You're talking about the team that last year kind of came out of nowhere and outslugged the New York Yankees and I believe they set the Major League Baseball record for most home runs as a team. Yep. And then they went out and added more home runs with Josh Donaldson.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. You talk about what the returning guys, like I expect some guys to kind of fall off, like Max Kepler. He's a guy that was, one of their top prospects who is, I think he can ascend, but at the same time, like last year was his first real time on the scene, being one of the premier bats. But again, it's a lineup just filled with bats. Jorge Polanco, really excited people last year playing that shortstop position. Sano's kind of a question mark, but again, it always comes down to pitching, and this is a team that added Kente Maeda and Rich Hill. They lost Draco to Rizzi, but, we'll see what Homer Bailey can do. I don't know about him, but in the end, the pitching staff is led by Jose Barrios, who's one of my favorite pitchers to watch. He's just nasty out there. He reminds me of a slightly more tempered Jose Fernandez, which is, to me, a great comparison. Rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. But yeah, I got the Twins 1. 2 is probably the tougher call, and that's where things sort of get dicey. And looking at who's there, I guess if I gotta pick the White Sox. I have to. It's a team that's just young, hungry, and again, we talk about the loss of Grandal from Milwaukee. He's going to be their gain. I think he's going to be their team MVP because he does wonders behind the plate. He's just going to help Giolito, who really put it all together last year. He's going to help him take that next step into superstardom. Excuse me. So I think with him behind the plate commanding that pitching staff, I wish Michael Kopech was there. He opted out, but again, young, hungry team. It's a team you don't want to play. Get them rolling early, and oh my goodness, look out! So I got Twins 1, and White Sox too.
Brooksy?
I got the same. But in addition to everything that he said, I mean, I feel like the Grandal factor is huge, and then just having additional arms where Keuchel's in there, that innings eater. And then I feel like with the Indians, they have Lindor, Ramirez, Clevenger, Bieber, like and they'll have, just like the Cardinals do, they'll have these pitchers come on in. And I think I am buying more of like the White Sox with the addition of Grandal, even I can't even say it.
Edwin Encarnacion.
Encarnacion, the finish. So I'm buying the White Sox hype. I mean, if this was a season that was more than 60 games, I would probably be leaning towards the Indians. I should never count out Tito. But I do think the Indians are going to be one of those next two teams in the playoffs. So there'll be three teams making the playoffs in this division: Twins, White Sox, Indians.
I have the same. I went back and forth on the White Sox and the Indians for a while. But I mean, when we did our predictions in the preseason, guys, I was hot on the White Sox. I was heavy on the White Sox. I want them to make the playoffs. They're young. They're energetic. Tim Anderson's probably one of my favorite players in the league right now as the shortstop.
Savage, dude. He's such a savage.
Like, he's awesome. They got a bunch of young kids. Dre, who's the prospect that they have coming up that could be like the next superstar of baseball? Like I think his name's Reyes, maybe.
Eloy Jimenez is there now.
Yeah.
So there's that. Luis Robert, who in the exhibition game just absolutely crushed a ball all the way to the north side to Cubs land. But they sent one of their best prospects down. Nick Madrigal, I butchered that name, but this team's just filled with so much young talent. I'm just going to fire some of these names that were at one time or another listed as one of their top prospects in Major League Baseball. Dylan Cease, he's their third pitcher. They got him in the Adam Eaton deal years back. He's a guy that came in last year, and he came over with Lucas Giolito, who was the centerpiece of that deal. Lurie Garcia is playing second. I don't know how long he's going to be there, but he's a guy that they considered as, again, one of their top prospects at the time. Madrigal's better talent, but we'll see what happens there. Yohan Moncada, and he's the guy that came over in the Chris Sale trade. Eloy Jimenez, he's a guy that came in the Cubs trade whenever they did that. So this GM did a really good job. Luis Robert, again, I touched on him. And this is a team, you said, added Edwin Encarnacion and Dallas Keuchel and Yasmani Grandal. They also added Nomar Mazara from Texas.
Yep.
I don't remember that happening, but the fact that he did, I mean, I always thought he was a well-rounded player for them. So top to bottom, this lineup is very deep, very scary, filled with talent. It's just a matter if these kids can put it together and adjust to Major League level, adjust to the Major League pitching. We'll see, but I got to say, I'm buying this hype.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, Dre. I mean, they're my number 2 team in this division. Twins, obviously, are my number 1 with the Indians sneaking in that third spot, probably going in the 7th or 8th seed.
And the guy I didn't even name was the guy they drafted number 2 overall, I believe, last year, and Andrew Vaughn. Yeah. Again, mashes the ball. They're just filled. They have so much talent right now. It's not even the Major League level that if they need to add pieces to the deadline, this is a team that can.
They have one of the deepest. Don't they? They have one of the deepest prospect classes in the country.
Them, the Twins, and the Braves. All three of them, if they need to add pieces at the deadline, they all can do it, and it really won't cost them much in terms of their future because a lot of their young talent is still under team control, and you got to realize the opportunity with 16 teams. Their window could be now.
Yeah. All right. Back over to the NL. Go to the NL West. I think this one might be pretty easy, guys. I'm not sure. Let me know if I'm wrong. Brooksy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think the two I let off on were like the easiest divisions. So yeah, definitely, the Arizona, just kidding.
Throw your own curveball.
They're just like insanely loaded, and sure we'll get to Mookie Betts being there in the future. But just like looking at this team, I'm actually like have it now, and they just like went through their starting lineup. I was like, oh my god, they went through like the first three batters, like holy cow, and then Cody Bellinger came up. I was like, oh my god, it's just insane. They're gonna destroy, and they're a team that like has too much talent to even put 9 people on a field at once. Like they're gonna definitely be one of the buyers getting a bullpen arm or even a starting arm. Who knows what it looks like, but it's not at this point. It's not questioning if they're going to win the division. It's if they're going to be how easy it is going to be and how soon they have it clinched. But beyond that, I remember us three. There's the 2 other teams in this division. I think some of us think one way, and some think the other way. I'm on the D-backs train. I really like the additions that they made with Marte Parte and Madison Bumgarner. I think they outperformed expectations last year, and I think continuing with those pieces now. And I think they had blanking on some of the names, but some of the people on their farm system. I think they have some people coming from the Greinke deal coming in, so that's a organization that turned over quick. I have a little bit more faith in them than I do the Padres. But yeah, I feel like this division is the second spot is just going to be a dogfight between the D-backs and the Padres. I don't feel like the Giants or the Rockies are going to really sniff it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Brooksy. I got the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks. I mean, you look at the Dodgers lineup, it's too good. It's too, like you can't look away as long as they stay healthy in the short season. Like I think they'll be fine. If Kershaw comes back, Kershaw misses opening start tonight with back stiffness, but if he comes back healthy, like I mean that's one lockdown. Then they got a bunch of other pitchers that they can throw that they'll be good with. And then I'm a big fan of the Diamondbacks too. I like what they did. They added Bumgarner. They got a couple of key guys at the back of the bullpen like Archie Bradley. They added Marte in the offseason. And then from what I've heard from looking at Arizona media and stuff like that, Robbie Ray is set to have a big year for the Diamondbacks. He supposedly looked good throughout spring training, throughout summer camp, things like that, leading into the beginning of the season. So I really like the Diamondbacks. The Padres could sneak in one of those last 2 seeds, but I think I'm going to go with Dodgers Diamondbacks.
And this is where we differ.
Yeah.
Because I'm the guy in the Padres. I got Dodgers 1, Padres 2. But I will say I got the Diamondbacks 3.
Okay.
It was always a tough race between the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and it's just a matter of who I believe in more.
Mm-hmm.
In the same philosophy that I apply to the White Sox, the young hungry team, I apply it to the San Diego Padres. But now with the expanded playoffs, I don't got to leave either out. I'm just going to put the Padres in there as automatic, though, 2 as opposed to 3. I think it'll be tight, but I think at the same time, looking at this San Diego Padres lineup with Manny Machado in there, who by all accounts completely underperformed last year in year 1 of his big, massive contract. I expect a big bounce back year from him. They still got Eric Hosmer there. They added Tommy Pham, but they have some guys here that are expected to take big leaps in year 2. Fernando Tatis Jr. specifically to name, I guess, the premier player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the most exciting players to watch in baseball. Last year, he was even getting MVP. He was even in the MVP conversation, and before he got injured, which is weird. I understand it was just such a short sample size. You're talking again May, June, but that's how good that guy was. So you had him there, and Chris Paddock is a guy who they limited their innings last year. This year the leash is off, and he's one of the most electric guys in baseball. Year 2, I expect him to take a big jump. But again, we talk about the trade deadline, things like that. This is a team that's also loaded with talent. Mackenzie Gore being that premier talent. Who knows when he'll make his debut? I know in the exhibition games he kind of got roughed up, so we'll see whenever he comes. But he's an electric lefty. We'll see what he can do. They definitely need some pitching. But I'm going with them over the Diamondbacks in a tight race just because, again, the young hungry team, Manny Machado is the best player on either team. So I can't pick against them, but I will say about the Diamondbacks. One thing is you're starting to see the dividends now pay off for them. Like Brooksy said, they added Marte. You're starting to see players from the Paul Goldschmidt trade kind of come into play there, specifically Luke Weaver and Carson Kelly, the catcher and starting pitcher. So we'll see how they respond, but I think that they're two guys that are, ready to take that next step. Kelly is a guy that the Cardinals named the catcher of the future, but they locked Yachty up so he could finish his career there, so they have no need for him. So that made him expendable in order to get Paul Goldschmidt. But yeah,
don't they still have another catcher coming up through too?
Yeah, they do. He's a little bit younger.
Yeah.
He's a little bit young, I believe, is in single A, but it might be on their taxi squad.
Yeah.
So all I know is that both teams, and including the Dodgers, who lost Clayton Kershaw, and it's replacing him with Dustin May. So that's cool. But yeah, chalk for I guess not chalk difference. Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks.
What do we got for the AL West? Gray money.
Again, another interesting division. Just because I feel like you could make a case for 3 teams, but I think I'm just trying to convince myself that I'm a believer in the Rangers. And you always forget about the Oakland Athletics, but I'm going Astros Angels. I think the Angels did a lot this offseason to kind of really bolster their lineup to help Mike Trout, the GOAT. I'm sorry, let me call him by his name, Goat Trout. So there's that. But they get Ohtani back as well, and he's pitching, so that's cool. And when he pitches, he's very electric. This is a team that's done everything they can to make sure that they make the playoffs in a 10-team format. Now you have 16 format. I had them in the playoffs as a wild card team, but now I have them as a team that's automatic. And the Astros, I mean, they lost Garrett Cole, but they're still the Houston Astros. That's just how good they were last year. And that's a team that, out of anybody in Major League Baseball, if there is one, benefits from playing with no fans for obvious cheating reasons. So there's I want to say the A's can make a shot, but it's always so tough. They're a team every year I just never see as a playoff team until they actually do it. So I guess prove me wrong, Oakland Athletics. But in the end, I got Astros 1, Angels 2.
Okay. Brooksy, what about you? I'm assuming.
So I went.
I'm assuming.
What's that?
From the look of your face when he said his teams, I'm assuming you got the same one.
I was like, I'll pivot. I mean, I was trying to think to myself, I was like, how could I have the Astros not win it? But then I was looking around the field and I was like, okay. I forgot about names just being removed away from this, Yordan Alvarez, Michael Brantley, Altuve, Bregman. For a while, I just looked at the Astros. I was like, cheaters. But then I'm just sort of holy cow, are they stacked? And I think they are loaded. They lost Garrett Cole. They'll be fine, I feel like.
Fine-ish.
Yeah, not as good as they could be. But yeah, I won't be rooting for them, but I think they're going to win the division. And then I think I have both the A's and Angels making the playoffs. And I guess at this point, trying to decide which one I want on top of the other, I'm going to go with the Angels. I feel like a change of the leadership at the guard with not Mark Madden, but Joe Madden. I love their Rendon pickup. They have Joe Adele coming through, Ohtani. There's some excitement there. I think especially in a 60-game season, I think their pitching staff can hold up. And I just think the A's are the kind-hearted Cardinals. Maybe just because they're not in the Pirates division. But they're just going to find a way to do it. I think they're going to be – it's actually – I don't like the A's, but I like this little alternate hat. That's the one that I'm wearing. So I can't sponsor that without having them in. So I'll have Astros, Angels in the first 2 spots, A's at the 7-8 spot.
I mean, I agree with you. pretty much across the board. I think the cheaters take the 1 seed, or the top seed in that division at least. I can't say it enough. I love what the Angels did this offseason with bringing in Anthony Rendon. I think it puts another bat in their lineup alongside Mike Trout. They already have Ohtani there. You never know. Justin Upton might come out and have a big year. He's still out there in the
big bounce back candidate right there.
Mm-hmm. Albert Pujols is still there. He's an older guy. He might benefit a little bit. So we'll see from the shortened season. So we'll see how that goes. And then they have I hate saying this guy's first name. Andrelton Simmons?
Andrelton
Simmons.
Andrelton.
One of the best gloves at shortstop in the league. So I mean, I've always liked the Angels, but it all comes down to their pitching staff and how it holds up throughout the 60-game season. So we'll see. Hopefully, Ohtani comes out and has a solid year coming back. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then Dre, I think you hit the nail right on the head. You never see you never see the Athletics coming until they're actually there. So I think they're a team that sneaks into the wild card or the 7 and 8 seed as well.
Yeah, and I haven't really given my 7 or 8 seeds, but I'm just going to say it right now. I got the Athletics and the Indians 7-8 in the AL, and then the NL. I'm going to have to say the Diamondbacks and the Cubs.
Okay. I will say that. Wait, Mac, who's your 7 and 8 in the AL?
I got the Athletics and the Indians.
We have all three of us have the same in the same spots.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mac, you give your 7 and 8 pick.
For the NL, I'm still like tossing and turning about this because. So if the Mets were completely healthy, I would put the Mets into the playoffs. But
Me too.
I can't see it. And then I'd like to put the Padres in there, but my definite team that's going in, I think the Nats are going to make the playoffs. The year after we're winning the World Series, I think they're going to make the playoffs with the expanded playoffs. This last team, I'm going back and forth between the Brewers and the Padres. I think I'm going to go Padres. I'm going to go with the Padres, being the last team in the NL.
All right. So I said it throughout my picks, but I'm going to change one of them. One of them are the Cubs, but I'm going to say just to mix it up and to have something to root for. Not the Nats, but the Mets. I think they're going to put something together. They're going to eke it out. I'll be eating those words, but that's what I'll have.
I'm a believer in the Mets. I always try to. It's incredibly unfathomable. It's crazy to think that with the talent that they have offensively and then having the Cy Young winner that they're not going to make the playoffs. But they somehow, some way, it's a curse that's in New York sports. It's the opposite of the successful franchises. You have the Yankees on one end, who's the gold standard. You have the Mets, who's just an absolute mess. It's not every single, but it's all 4 sports. There's a mess and there's a good team, and the Mets are just the mess. Every single year they find a way just to be the mess, and it's like they're already ravished with injuries. Like I just can't put them in there. I can't, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because that's a team I like to see succeed, but I can't do it. And Matt can say this from last year. I was high on the Mets, and then I just felt it all come crashing down when they got swept by the Marlins, and somehow they made a run.
That's what I'll be feeling in 3 weeks.
We'll see, though. All I know is I'm excited, man. Baseball's it's nice to talk about this and actually see it to come to fruition.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Brooksy's got the record of who picked who. World Series. Who do you got? Who wins it? I'll go first, actually, because I don't think I've gone first in a couple hours. I'm gonna stick with my prediction from the preseason. I'm gonna go Yanks Dodgers. The Yankees just look good. As long as they stay healthy compared to what they were last year, I think they'll make a run this year. Adding Garrett Cole to the front end of the rotation, I think is going to be a huge boost for them, especially when it comes to the playoffs. And then you look at the Dodgers. I don't think there's an explanation that needs to be needed or that is needed after kind of breaking down their lineup and their pitching rotation and everything. So I'm going to go Yanks Dodgers, but I think the Dodgers come out on top. I think Clayton Kershaw is going to have a huge World Series. I think he's going to come through in the clutch this year, and that lineup I think is going to be a big help when it comes to the World Series. So I'm going to go Yanks Dodgers in 6. Brooksy.
Wait, did you say who'd you have winning?
Dodgers in
That's
6.
what I thought.
Dodgers in 6.
It threw me off, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing games." Yeah, I'm gonna have the same matchup,
Okay.
but I'll go with the Yankees. I feel like last year they battled against injuries all year, and they still were so close to the World Series. And I feel like if they stay healthy, if they get through, adding Garrett Cole, I think they have the firepower on both sides. So I think it's going to be like one of the most anticipated series. And I just have the Yankees eking it out. I'll say there's going to be a Game 7 in New York.
It'll be fun to watch.
With the Yankees winning.
Dre, what do you got, bro?
So, I got the Dodgers winning the World Series. I got them winning in 6, but I don't have them beating the Yankees. Yeah, I wanted to see your face, Brooksy, whenever I said this. I got the Minnesota Twins.
Ooh.
I got the Twins in the World
That's not-
Series. It's bold.
It's crazier to say the Yankees won't make it. So I like that.
I know, right?
Yes.
But again, you just got to think about what they have. Top to bottom, I think their lineup is not for face value. I think it's deeper, though, in terms of production-wise. I mean, I look at a team, you expect some regression, but at the same time, like, they made up for it. If any guy kind of regresses, they add Josh Donaldson. He's been consistent. He's a guy that's getting right in there. And he's a guy that's going to guarantee you 30 home runs. The Yankees, I'm not anticipating it, but I look at a team that lost so much last year in injuries that if that were to happen again, that's not going to benefit them in a shortened season. So they're already out with Masahiro Tanaka's on the 10-day. Herman's still serving his domestic violence suspension because he's a douche. Rotten hell.
Chapman has COVID.
Yeah, and there's that. Chapman has COVID, so they already got issues with closers. So it's like essentially already starting. And who am I missing? That Luis Severino.
Yeah,
He was their best pitcher last year. If he was in this rotation, it'd be a little bit different. But you add Garrett Cole, there's that. And I got a lot of questions after that. Dylan Betances isn't there no more. I'm just curious to see how this team, if this team can live up to expectations, because they're the team right now that has the most hype around them outside of the Dodgers. And, you know, I know the Yankees have done it. They've done it the most out of anybody, but the Twins have nothing to lose. They add Josh Donaldson, they still have no pressure. They added, you know, they went out and made these additions, and they still don't have the pressure the Yankees have. I can see that really benefiting them. So I'm just going to put them in there. I'm going to have them losing the Dodgers in 6 games.
I like it. Brooksy's got the records. We'll visit this when the World Series is over. But so we kind of already talked about Juan Soto getting COVID. So I kind of just want to move on to this Mookie Betts contract. 12 years.
365.
Max value of 392.
365. I think 365 is no, that's not.
So if it's the total contract counting this year, it's 13
years.
for 392.
Yeah.
Okay.
12 years for what?
365.
365.
So
The $65 million signing bonus too.
untaxed. Because
Yeah,
of where his permanent address is.
Because he doesn't live in LA yet, which is wild. So I mean, when we kind of talked about this a while ago, I mean, we knew he was going to sign a big contract. Did you guys expect him to get this big of a contract?
I did.
I mean, it's kind of Bryce Harper money.
It's better, and I say that. I mean, I don't say that because of the numbers. I say because he was his best player. I mean, if it wasn't for Mike Trout, I mean, he'd be the guy everybody talks about in the AL. And even then, with Mike Trout there, he beat him out for an MVP. He's been damn near double-digit WAR player
Yeah.
during his entire tenure of the White Sox since his Rookie of the Year season. Like, he's been the epitome of consistency. He's avoided injuries, and he's done it all from the leadoff spot. He goes from there out to LA, gets his money, and now he can just go there and shine because that's a franchise that knows how to do it, knows how to put their stars, up on a pedestal. He's going on a lineup with Cody Bellinger. I mean, that's the NL Twins, because that's the team that, again, just led the National League in home runs. So you take him and you insert him in the top of the lineup. And he's going to give you damn near 60 games. I almost said 162. I'm still trying to fight off them ways, but he's a guy that brings it every single night on the bases, in the batter's box, and in the field. He's a 5-tool player. He brings it every night. He deserves every single dollar he got in terms of the value of baseball contracts today. I'm not surprised at all. And the Dodgers can afford it. So there's that.
They dish out money left.
Yeah, they're benefiting from the fact that I believe they still haven't signed Seager or Bueller or Bellinger to massive extensions. I expect Bellinger to make as high, if not higher, depending on what he does, see how he develops, if he can be that kind of player Mookie Betts is. But he's going to secure his bag. Right now it's about Mookie, and I expect Mookie to do the same things he did in Boston that he's going to do in LA.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at the size of the contract. I was surprised of the when. I
didn't expect it to come before the season.
Yeah,
that too.
I'm sure the Dodgers maybe could have saved a little bit of money if it went to it, but if it would have went to that bidding war, because I don't know if any other team would have gone to that point.
Yeah.
But maybe Steve Cohen at the Mets, but who knows? But locking up a guy like that, I think, is just great. I mean, especially for the terms of that deal on a team that can afford it. I mean, it's somebody that, like Dre just said, he's without Mike Trout. It's interesting to see where his MVP numbers have been, and he's been averaging a WAR of above 8, and he's just somebody that's just so plug and play. It's just a sure thing. I think I was getting worried. I was like, oh, sorry, Mac, but it would be stupid if if the Red Sox get Verdugo and Jeter down, or whatever the other guy's name was, and then they just come back and then get him. I'd be like, oh, that would
have been nice. That would have been nice.
It would have been it would have been a heist and no one saw coming.
Yeah,
it really would have been.
And I'll be like, oh, well, now I'd be thinking coronavirus was Red Sox fan conspiracies. Yeah. But it will be exciting to watch. I mean, for 13 years, that's crazy. That will be in 2033. He'll still be out there. What is he, 27, 28 now? He's turning 28 this year?
27.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's just plugged in. And he's, at least on my screen now, he's batting right now.
Facing a 1-2 count.
Oh,
wow, the Dodgers game is on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is 10:20, so this makes sense. They must have called the Yankees game.
Yeah.
But to your point, Brooksy, something you said, and now it's sort of escaping me. Oh, yeah. I guess to me, this shows the value of and the smarts of Andrew Friedman and the Los Angeles Dodgers. They could have let him play out the season, but then you risk losing him for 2 of your top prospects. Verdugo is a guy that, they were very high on. They kept him out of trade talks with teams when they were negotiating for guys like Zach Greinke and stuff. And for them to pull off the Mookie Betts trade, you would have to assume that giving up him and Jeter Downs, that they weren't going to let him hit free agency. I feel like it was a safe assumption. And if they did, I think it'd be stupid, because then you'd have Mac's dream come true of him possibly returning the White Sox or the Red Sox. So to me, it shows just how smart the smart baseball people really showing why they are one of the more better organizations in baseball. Mm-hmm. Just getting this done now and not even worrying about it. Now Mook can go out there and just kind of play. He don't got to worry about this contract. He don't got to have that in the back of his mind. He just play and focus on the goal of winning that World Series.
Yeah, I was really hoping it was going to be one of those heist situations. Here we go. where he come back. But
I started playing it right before he started talking.
it is what it is. It is what it is. I'll accept it. It's over with. At least he's signed now, and there's no like, all right, maybe he'll come back. Now it's just over with.
Yeah.
All right. You guys got anything else? I think that's it.
I was just gonna say, selfishly, I'm just like, like him and Trout are just both locked in the West Coast for the rest of their careers, and it's just like, well, stay up late to watch them.
The Battle of
Bryce
LA.
Harper.
Battle of LA. It'll be interesting.
I guess I got one question. So I did a fantasy draft yesterday. I had a number 1 overall pick. If you have the number 1 overall pick out of these 3 guys, who do you take? Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, Ronald Acuna.
Trout.
Yeah.
Then I got nothing else to say because I took Mike Trout.
Okay.
Why would you take Mike Trout?
I feel like I was like, is there a trick here? Is there something?
No.
I thought you were going to say you picked Acuna.
I had a friend tell me, he's like, you should have took Acuna. He's better. Like, I mean, he gets more bats, but like, do I want more opportunities, or do I want the most consistent thing baseball's seen over the past decade?
Yeah, it's always Mike Trout.
And in the midst of his prime, might I add.
Yeah.
Playing a sprint, not playing a marathon. Like, he's gonna come out the gate swinging, and he's not gonna stop.
He's gonna be hot all year long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm just excited to watch him play and watch baseball to be back. Like,
yep.
Finally.
Yeah, I have so many people on my fantasy baseball team. I could feel the team of just people that got COVID. Like, I almost forgot because it's in a dynasty one, and I forgot to update it. And I was like sitting around, I was like, oh shoot, I have Soto, and I was just looking at my whole team of people that have COVID. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm screwed. I'm like Tommy Pham. Did he have COVID, or is it something else he's missing out on?
Meadows had COVID.
Yeah, Meadows, Chapman, Will Smith, Cole Calhoun, the superstar. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
I will say I avoided all COVID players last night in my draft. So
there you go.
Smart. I drafted back when we didn't even know what COVID was.
Right.
Simpler times.
But now we're back, guys. Baseball's here. It's back. Woo!
There it is. Yeah! You got the Twins going to the World Series in the American League, losing to the Dodgers. Yeah! You got the Pirates tanking for Kumar Rocker. Yeah! I love Dave Chappelle. Mookie Betts getting 300, almost $400 million. Yeah!
All right, guys. That is all the
Jack
time.
Flaherty, Cy Young. Yeah!
Never mind. We keep going, Drake. Keep going.
Zach Rose Jr., home run king. Yeah! All right, I'm out. I'm done. I got no more.
All right, guys. That is all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us for another special episode of Part of the Order, opening day 2020. See you next week.